If the Strait of Hormuz shuts down for just 30 days, the global economy doesn't slow down, it breaks. Oil prices skyrocket. Shipping collapses. Markets panic. Entire countries face energy shortages within weeks. And here's the part most people miss. This narrow strip of water, barely 21 miles wide, is one of the most powerful weapons in modern warfare. Welcome back. Today, we're going to break down one of the most important, and most misunderstood, strategic choke points on Earth. This is geopolitics explained in its rawest form. Because if you don't understand the Strait of Hormuz, you don't understand modern war. And more importantly, you don't understand the real stakes behind the US-Iran conflict. Let's start simple. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway connecting the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea. At its narrowest point, it's just about 21 miles wide. That's it. But through this tiny corridor flows nearly 20% of the world's oil supply. Every day. Think about that. 1 out of every 5 barrels of oil passes through this single choke point. Tankers from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, and the UAE all depend on it. And on one side of this narrow passage sits Iran. In modern warfare, control isn't always about land. It's about choke points. Places where geography gives you leverage over the entire system. And the Strait of Hormuz is the ultimate choke point. If it closes, even partially, global oil supply drops instantly. Prices spike. Stock markets react within hours. And within days, you start seeing real-world consequences. Fuel shortages, rising inflation, economic instability. This is why the strait isn't just a trade route. It's a pressure point on the entire global economy. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. To understand the full picture, you need to understand the petrodollar system. Back in the 1970s, after the United States left the gold standard, a new system emerged. Oil would be traded globally, not in gold, but in US dollars. This created something powerful. Every country that needs oil needs dollars. And since oil is the backbone of modern economies, transport, electricity, manufacturing, that means constant global demand for the US dollar. This is where geopolitics explained becomes economics. Because the Strait of Hormuz doesn't just carry oil. It carries the foundation of the global financial system. Here's the loop most people never hear about. Countries buy oil using dollars. Oil producers receive those dollars and then reinvest them back into the United States, buying US government bonds, real estate companies. This is called Petrodollar Recycling. And it creates a cycle where oil dollars, investment, more dollar strength. Which means the Strait of Hormuz isn't just an energy choke point. It's a financial lifeline. Now bring this back to the US-Iran conflict. Iran understands something very clearly. It doesn't need to match the United States tank for tank, or jet for jet, because it already holds something far more powerful. Geography. Iran sits right next to the strait, and it has built its entire military strategy around that advantage. This is called asymmetric warfare. Instead of direct confrontation, Iran focuses on naval mines, fast attack boats, anti-ship missiles, small submarines, all designed for one purpose: control the strait, or, if necessary, shut it down. Let's go back to the question from the beginning. What happens if the Strait of Hormuz closes? Even temporarily? Within hours, oil prices surge globally. Within days, shipping insurance costs skyrocket. Within weeks, supply chains begin to break. Countries that rely heavily on imported energy, especially in Asia and Europe, start feeling immediate pressure. And then there's the bigger picture. If oil stops flowing, the petrodollar system starts to weaken. Because if oil isn't being traded, then the constant demand for dollars slows down. And that's where things get dangerous. Because now you're not just dealing with an energy crisis. You're dealing with a global financial shock. Some countries are already trying. China, Russia, BRICS nations. They're exploring alternatives. Trading oil in yuan. Using local currencies. Building new financial systems. But here's the problem. The dollar system is deeply embedded. It's fast, liquid, trusted. Replacing it isn't easy. It's like trying to replace the internet itself. Possible? Maybe. Quickly? Not a chance. So when people talk about modern war, they often focus on weapons, missiles, jets, troops. But the real power? It's often invisible. It's geography. It's economics. It's control over systems the world depends on. And the Strait of Hormuz sits at the center of all of it. A narrow passage, with the power to shake the global economy and shape the future of the US-Iran conflict. Because in today's world, Winning a war isn't always about fighting. Sometimes, it's about controlling the one place no one can afford to lose.